Welcome, folks, back to another episode of the podcast. We have our dual wielding mics first time.
Yay.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
We are one micers with the one Shure. If you're watching the YouTube video, you saw us only have one of these bad boys. Now we got two.
So fancy.
We're getting professional. We're getting serious here on the podcast. A little classy, a little nice, a little different. All right.
We are on day 9. No, today's day 10. We're on day 10 of our eating out and maintaining or losing series.
Yes.
And I got to be honest.
No, it's 9. 9.
Today's 9?
June 9th.
Or
Been doing it.
Yesterday was the
1,
8th.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's the 9th of June. 9
Okay.
days.
Well,
9th.
keep looking at this instead of the camera.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, today is the 9th day of us eating out. We're recording this all for YouTube, so you guys will see it on our YouTube channel here at the end of June. In July, we're going to be posting the not the nitty gritty, but all the details we've been recording of our weight every single morning fasted, as well as what we've been eating.
Yep. And we're realizing it's gonna be a long YouTube video. You said we're splitting it up into
Just gonna
it's gonna be we're just gonna like chop it up as much as we can. 30 different segments of food and weigh-ins. Kind of a lot, but not a lot. It'll probably just be a bitch to edit.
Yeah.
But at least there's not gonna have
yeah.
How
are you gonna do it?
No.
Anywho, so we're on day 9. I was thinking in my head, I'm like, oh yes, it's almost over. Like I was thinking a week, and I'm like, oh I know it's not almost over.
We got long ways to go. We're trying our best to keep things as decent as possible, but it's hard. Like you go to like a Chipotle, and it's like I wish there was 10 other places like Chipotle, but different type of cuisines, and
It's not like they're far from us.
Far from us, dude. And we're time optimizers. We kind of have to live within pockets of time because certain periods our calendar is open, and then there's a call here, there's a call there, and we like to be chilling and done with our day by 8 p.m. at the latest. And so I like go drive 30 minutes somewhere, grab food, drive 30 minutes back, and it's 8:30.
Convenience is what we're about.
Yeah, the inconvenience of that is not too nice. So.
Yeah. But I have a trip to Cabo. I have a girls' trip coming up to Cabo, and I really wanted to lean out for it. So I've been doing some cardio. I've been hitting more steps. I've been trying to eat like a bird.
Yeah, we're breaking out the garbage bag next week, and she's gonna be running the garbage bags.
No, I'm not taking it that seriously, but it does make it harder having to eat out. I think a part of it is like sodium too, but it's just you get in more calories when you go out to eat. As much as we've been trying to keep it a little bit lighter, it's just hard.
It is.
We're doing a little bit of an untraditional episode today, and a little bit more of sharing a personal journey of where we were a year ago today, because holy moly, we've come a long way. These are very different.
Yeah, we've come a very long way in the last year. We've lived in 3 different locations in the last year, which is crazy because we moved from a place in Houston, went to a place in Chicago, moved to a separate place in Houston 11 weeks later. For those that don't know the story, we're not going to go into the details. We moved out of Houston on this day last year, or this day or tomorrow, drove all the way to Chicago, lived in a skyrise apartment on the 34th floor in the center of the city, beautiful views, but we just didn't really vibe with city living as much as we thought we would. I lived in Chicago, so I knew what to expect. Audrey had never done it before, so she wanted to experience it. She experienced it, and we left.
It was just not what I had fantasized and romanticized in my head. And I remember before we left, Mason was telling me, you're not going to like it. You're not going to like it. Let's just stay here. I had like a little bit of just, I think anytime you make a big move, especially when it's in a different state and to a state that I only know people from him, but I didn't have like any besties or close friends there, which was fine. But it just made it harder. And I remember crying before. I'm like, oh my God, this is scary. But I needed to experience it. Like, cause I know had we not moved, I would have been sitting in this dang chair. Well, probably not in this place, but I would have been questioning, wondering what it would still be like. And I know that it was just a life bucket list that I had to check off. I wanted to live in a bigger city, not just like, in Austin, which is still a bigger city, but I wanted to live in like Chicago, New York City, and experience that for all it has to offer. And just given the fact that we work so much, and I felt like we were just stuck in the glass box all day.
Yeah.
You should have seen where I worked every day, or at least where my desk was in our place.
It was And before we even left for Chicago, we were all committed. And then it got real as we were like, oh, we're packing up. We're leaving all of our friends. We're doing this. We almost decided to break our lease early, stay in Houston and not go because like, even like looking at the place, I was like, okay, we have this place in Houston. I was like, wait, okay, this is what our bedroom looks like. We have 2 desks that are this same size. We had to throw the other one out in Chicago because it didn't fit in our apartment.
And then it became, my desk became about a quarter of this one.
Yeah.
Having a little
shoved it into a corner. And yeah, it was, yeah. It was
so I worked outside of the apartment most days and I just always was in coffee shops.
Yeah.
But the big piece here. So I remember we went to EDC Vegas and like when you go to a music festival, it's such a high and then you come back and it can feel like a very low.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a lot of work and we were getting ready for this big move away from the people that we just went and raved with. And it was just a lot. I was also, did I already wrapped up my master's or was I still trying to wrap it up? No, I think I had just finished my master's.
Yeah.
I had just finished my master's, right? So just a lot of like, I had so much stress going on. And actually we like a month prior had decided to pull out of a competition prep. Wasn't that deep into it, but I was already doing 45 minutes of cardio on the stairs. I was already eating a little bit lower food. So think about like just how much stress in general that was on my body between running a business. And it was like in the heat of our business in May, like things were so busy between that, a giant move, just got back from a music festival where, you know, everything was depleted and I had just finished up my master's. So there was just a lot going on and the competition prep where I was eating little amounts and doing a lot of cardio. So every single component of stress that you can have in your life was there and 2 extremes. And we moved to Chicago and I remember just like feeling so on a high for about a week. And then that excitement of, wow, we're living in this cool city. And I'm starting to see some of the things that I don't love about it started to creep in. Like we always talk about like the chaos was just insane from the loudness of it. Like we lived in the heart of, if you're familiar with Chicago, of River North.
Yeah, we went from living pretty much in a pasture, basically out in Sugar Land, Texas, which was 30 minutes away from downtown, quiet suburban. You know, we walk outside at 6 a.m. All you hear are just little bugs and little birds, and it's quiet. There's a pond. There's a freaking open walk, like a huge sidewalk around the pond that could go on for miles. It was chill. It was quiet. And then we 180'd and we landed ourselves at a skyrise that had a main road right to the highway in Chicago that got super busy during all rush hour times. And like at any time you walk outside in Chicago, you're hearing like horns, you're hearing sirens, you're hearing hobo yell at you across the streets. Someone's trying to cat call you out their window. Like it's city living. And we just didn't put ourselves in probably the best part of the city.
Right.
Great place. Love the apartment, love the views, but wasn't worth our mental sanity to always have that just noise around us because we need to be high performers with what we do. You know, we're always front of our Instagram, our social medias, hopping on calls with people. We have to be on all the time. And, you know, when I go outside, I don't want to have to like have my guard on or, like,
all the time. Be
having these loud noises around me. I kind of want peace. So the lack of peace that we were receiving just wasn't worth us living in the center of a city.
Yeah. And like, we'll be, like Mason said, we have a lot of like sales calls and it's just a lot of energy output that we give. And so when I go for a walk with Honey to break up the work day, let's say, I kind of want to just be in my own thoughts for a second and not be in chaos. You would walk outside and it was more chaotic because, you know, all of the noises and the sirens and Honey, especially, we would have to walk to this patch of grass that McDonald's had. It was the only real patch of grass that was in the city. So Honey had to learn to poop on streets and pee on streets and the noise of everything. She was so scared all the time. She finally loosened up a little bit, but having to walk to McDonald's just to find a little patch of grass was just like so. And by the way, this McDonald's was across from this gas station that was constantly wrapped up in caution tape with the SWAT team around it because
there was always a crime going on.
Such a bad crime. The second night we were there, I'm walking Honey and I see 2 policemen walking up to a car with its windows up at this gas station saying, hands up. And their guns are pointed at these people's heads. That was the second night we ever lived there.
Oh my God. Yeah. So you can only imagine just the intensity of living in this place, and just, it was great, like I said, but wasn't for us.
Yeah. We were also paying,
some people love it.
Yeah. We were paying double the amount of rent. Beautiful place again. I understand why,
Mm-hmm.
but double the amount of rent for the experience that we had personally, given what we do.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just a lot. So anyway, we broke our lease. We got the hell out of there. But what made it harder was that during this time, like I said, I had put my body under so much stress. Then my hormones just plummeted. And I feel bad. We've had conversations now, some harder, tougher conversations, real and open, vulnerable kind of conversations about the strain that it also put on our relationship, because, not only was the move very stressful, but I just was not myself in Chicago at all. I didn't have much of an outlet to talk to. I was constantly FaceTiming Carly. Shout out Carly. But I was FaceTiming her, just telling her like, dude, I'm in this like hole that I can't seem to dig myself out of. Every day I was explaining it, like every day felt like every time I woke up and opened my eyes, it was like I feel like I had to pry my eyes open. Like they just wouldn't open because I was just so extremely exhausted no matter how much I slept. But even when I did, I was so dreading the day, and it didn't matter what we were doing. I didn't want to do it. I was like, this sucks. Life sucks. Everything sucks. I'd go and work out, and I'd have to walk into the apartment bathroom to bawl my eyes out to try and finish my workout that I didn't want to do. It was just terrible. And Mason, poor Mason, had to experience this with me, a true champ. But I was always just complaining about things and crying all the time and just was not happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was definitely an interesting time period. Things were different, things were whatever, but it wasn't absolutely terrible on my side, mainly because we were very busy people, and we have, we do stuff throughout the day, all day. So it wasn't like,
not like it was a
dog was just
constant
nagging me the entire time.
No.
Like, oh my God. But it was like, it was noticeable to where it just didn't seem like it was her and her typical character. And, the same Audrey, I know that's always got more energy than most people during the day. So it was interesting, but it was also just like a cocktail of everything all together.
Yeah.
You can imagine not being in a place that you're in love with, going through all that stuff. Everything kind of piles up. So, I think that's with most people. It's like, it's never just like one specific thing. It's kind of all multiple factors that are equating into the overall feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was also really difficult because this was the first time in my life that I'd experienced weight loss resistance in this way.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a fitness coach, and I also share my body on social media. And as much as I don't want to say I hate to admit it, but as much as it sucks in a way, my body is also part of our marketing, and so is yours, right? And so, with that, I always put a lot of pressure on myself to look a specific way. And so because of all the stress and because of the state of my hormones, I was slowly kind of gaining, and it wasn't that I was gaining in a good way. It was like, I just felt puffy all the time. I had pictures of my face that was just like so much more swollen. And I was trying to like eat less and move more, and just kept doing that, which was only exacerbating things. And I kept just slowly gaining. And I just was so frustrated by it. Like I could not get the scale to move. So not only was I feeling depressed and, anxious and every single symptom you can think of, but I hated my body, and it's all that was consuming my mind. And no matter what I did, I felt like I couldn't get it off. So that was frustrating within itself. So there was just a lot that was going on. So that was part of what made us ultimately decide to move back. It wasn't just that, but it also is what has made us so passionate about working with other women with hormone health, because thank God Mason is who he is and is such a understanding, empathetic, caring boyfriend and partner. But I know that there are men out there who maybe you just don't understand it, because Mason understood it to an extent. But there's a lot of men out there who maybe are like, my girlfriend is crazy. I would kind of get like short-tempered too, a little bit more easily, still do sometimes. But maybe you don't understand it, and you just think like your girlfriend is just crazy and she's crying all the time and she's being dramatic, right? Why are you so dramatic? Why are you this? Have a little bit of empathy, because it could be something that where I knew in my head, like, I'm not being the partner I want to be. I'm not showing up in the way that I would love to show up. Believe me, I felt out of control of my body. But it's like, I couldn't, no matter what, get myself out of that headspace. Like I knew I was being a biatch, and I knew I was being short-tempered and being depressed and not a good time to be around. It ultimately made it harder.
Right.
But I couldn't like snap out of it. I couldn't just, no matter how much I meditated, no matter how much I did gratitude, I was working harder towards those things, affirmations. I just couldn't snap out of it. If you're listening to this, if you're still here with us, if you're a partner of someone who maybe has changed recently and you feel like she's not the same, or he, and maybe they're a little bit more sad. They're not smiling as much. They're not laughing as much. Just have some empathy and question why, and maybe look under the surface at some things. It's not always hormones at all. It's not always hormones, but it could be. And it could be something you can fix to find yourself again and to find your partner again.
100%.
Yeah. So here we are,
Mm-hmm.
a year later.
A year later,
Better
better than ever,
Yeah.
happier than ever. Life's crazy. Things change. So many different variables in the mix. I mean, for me to even have thought like all the things that we conspired and we did to this, not hormone story aside, just lifestyle aside, like insane.
Yeah.
Just travels, all the stuff, the moves back and forth. Just life's weird. Life's interesting. Life's fun.
It's
And you
fun.
get to do so many cool things. And I think, we all, I mean, especially with our life, I mean, we'll look 2 years back from now and be like, wow, we fucking did all that stuff.
Yeah.
Like it's I constantly, it's cool for us to be always like
Evolving.
surprising, evolving, and like not knowing what's next, but knowing whatever next is going to be a cool ass experience and a fun time. So,
Yeah. It's because we work hard and we consistently work hard. We talked about that last night. So
that's right.
we know what's ahead is going to be big, and there's going to be a lot of changes that maybe we can't predict. But we're excited for them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. We're ready for our adventures.
We are.
Thank you guys for tuning in to today's podcast. I know it was a little bit unorthodox of what we typically do, but hopefully it gave you guys some insight. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you guys. Like she mentioned, we will see you guys in the next one. And if you did enjoy this unorthodox podcast or any of our podcasts, as always, share them to somebody who feel like could hear a little bit of Audrey's story. It's unique, but I think a lot of people can resonate with it, just based off of, what we've learned about how people really feel out there over the past year and a half here. So we'll see you guys in the next one.
Bye guys.